So, and after a while, I had this arrangement. You can see there's more stuff in the arrangement now. First of all, I had this bass, and I added another bass. I called it sub because it has way more low end. And it has a different kind of like attack and plug. It's coming from Nexus. And turn off all the plugs. Standard housey slap house sound. And I wanted to get it a little bit more fat and like punchy, especially for the drop. So I used the FabFilter Saturn with a little bit of drive on all frequencies. It gives warmth and depth to the sound and this kind of like oomph you might need. Then I used the CLA bass again. And you can hear it. It really brings out the sound. It makes it more like, gives it more presence in the mix. I added some room, not reverb and hall. It's a very short, it's more like an ambient sound to give this sound a little bit more space. And then I used a little bit of EQing. So I took away a little bit of 60 Hertz because that kind of like clashed with the kick drum. And I brought out the high end a little bit of the 5K, around 5K, to give it a little bit more presence. Then again, shape a box to create that sidechain effect. And what I sometimes do is I add the LFO tool with this short time sidechain ducking here, or ducking effect, just to make or create more room for the kick attack. So this only works in the very first part of the sound. You can hear it, but it works well with the kick. And once you apply the kick, you can't actually hear that gap anymore. So all the stuff together, before, yeah, it's already bigger, and yeah, we keep working on that drop. Then I was adding a couple of drum sounds here just to create a flow within the breakdown and build up the energy towards the drop. So first of all, a little bit of a ride. I've been looking in the wrong way. I've had now. That's the ride. And then I added a snare roll, a snare build, with a little bit of compression to make it sound fatter. And you see, I already applied a little bit of volume automation just to make sure the energy is not building up too much before the drop. Otherwise, you lose a lot of impact when it goes into the drop. So you take down the energy of all the instruments playing or the sounds right before you go into the drop. I'll come back to that later as well. Then for the drop, the claps, one clap, second, and the hi-hats. And I felt like this sounds already cool. Here. Yep. So let's go through the rest. The vocal, yes, I added a vocoder sound because I felt the vocal sounded a little bit boring and empty and it needed some more vibe. So I worked on a vocoder sound. For that, I created a vocoder synth, which is actually playing the chords. And I didn't send it to the output because you don't need to hear them. But if I send them here, it sounds like this. So that's the chords going into the vocoder. And the vocoder sound is here. Yeah. That's the orange vocoder driven by the vocoder synth. And when I add this to the original vocal, very nice. I loved it. And that was actually, for me, the basic idea for the vocal, to make it sound a little bit more robotic and vocoder-like. I also added some sounds. First of all, this one here, it's called moving chords. I've been using this kind of sound a lot in my tracks back in the years, and I just love it, like this. It gives a little bit of groove and rhythm and still creates a lot of vibe, and you can perfectly filter it. It's coming from the Sylenth. It's this kind of sound here, and let me take off the plugins. And if you put up, so it's a filter driven by the LFO here. 16th. And it gives a lot of movement to this, to the whole all-over sound.
I believe that there's a path that
Then the drone bass.
I believe that there's a path,
And I put them all on.
a path that will lead me to my home, a path that I've been looking in the wrong way. Yeah, that's what I've been told, that I could be a better man. I think I gotta know, better man, and I just gotta know.
Yep, that's it. That's the basic idea. I was really happy with that. And now the next step would be to create a basic arrangement, because for me it's always important to see, does it work or does it not work? Yeah, you know, it's kind of like a proof of concept. Could I go on with that idea, or is it something that doesn't really work within the whole arrangement? And I'm gonna show you this in the next chapter.
Let's begin.